Right, so once again, hello guys, and welcome back to our course about Excel, the complete introduction. So in today's course, we are going to make our first small application of what we just learned in our last classes about the if function, all the functions in general. So the first thing we wanna do is create a small database like this. So simply create number, names, and add random numbers here. So it's gonna be sales. So those cases right here, or sales right here, will be the sales that those person generated. So the main goal here is to find out the best sales, the worst sales, the average of sales, and we're gonna add some other features. All right. So when you guys are done creating this, you want to create a small table right here where you will have once again your names, the total, average sale, best sale, and worst sale. So we are going to start with this. So the first thing we want to do is find out the total sales of Nancy. So Nancy is right here. How we can find out the total sales that she did? We can simply do an addition of all her sales, which is gonna take time because we'll have to do it manually, or we can use the first function that we learned, which is the sum. So simply click on equal, write down sum, and we select all those numbers. Then you click on enter. So when it's done, you can see that the total sales of Nancy are $460. What you can do also with Excel, well, you can simply click here and drag it down till there. And you will have all the total sales of everyone right here. So as you can see, the sales of Jack, sales of Leo, sales of Anna, and sales of Paul. When it's all done right now, you want to look for the average sale of each person. So you want to find out the average sale of Nancy. So how much she sold on an average. So once again, we can do it manually by making an addition of all this and by dividing everything by 10. Or we can simply use the second function that we learned, which is the average. So simply write down average. And we'll look for the average of Nancy. So as you can see, the average sale of Nancy is $46. So per sale, Nancy sells on an average $46. We can do the same thing for all the other persons. So as you can see, we have the average sale of everyone right here. Once again, if for example you own a store or you work for a store, well, this is something you can do. Know the average sale of each person. And this way you can see who is your best seller, who sells the most, who sells the less. Next thing, best sales. So how do we find the best sale of Nancy? Right here we have only 10 sales, 10 sales of data. So and finding the best sale, well, it's not gonna take time. It's easy, but like let's say if you have 100 or 1000 sales, it's gonna take a lot of times. This is why we are going to use a function, the function max. So how to find out the best sale of Nancy? So once again, we write down max. It will simply find out the biggest number, so the biggest sale that she ever made. So as we can see, $90. So we will do this exact same thing for our other sellers. And for the worst sale, well, we can look manually, or we can use the function min. Min function, as we learned in our first classes, is really to find out the smallest number in a series of numbers. Here we go. So the worst sale of Nancy is $20. And as we can see, well, we have the worst sales for all our sellers. All right, so right now we have our best and worst sale. right now, let's say we want to compare, not compare, we want to look who has, let's say, sales that are higher than $1,200. So compare. So what does it mean? Maybe you didn't understand. So all the sales, what are the sellers that have more than $1,200 of sales? That's what we are looking for. So how do we do this? So we write down our equal. We're gonna use an if function for this. So simply write down if. What will be the logical test? So the logical test for this one, if the total sale is bigger than $1,200, we will return yes. If not, we will return no. So here we can see that Nancy didn't sell more than $1,200. And what is cool with Excel is that we can do the exact same thing. But wait, that doesn't make sense. So as you can see here, we have a mistake. Why do we have a mistake? So that is what we learned in our first classes. It's because we didn't lock the 1,200. So we will go back here and simply lock down this cell with the dollar signs. And we click back on enter. So we do the exact same thing. We drag everything. And right now, as you can see, well, our answers make more sense because Nancy, Jack, and Anna didn't sell more than $1,200. If you want to change it, well, it's possible. You can change it. The answers will change. So as you can see, it's yes or here. But for the purpose of this example, well, we are going to look for $1,200. The last thing that we are going to look for is, let's say, for example, we want to look for what are the worst sales of the employee number 3. So worst sell employee. Number, let's say 3 for this example. So how do we find this out? We're gonna use for this last example an VLOOKUP function. So simply write down equal VLOOKUP. So we are going to look up for the number 3. Sorry, not VLOOKUP, it's gonna be HLOOKUP. Yeah, a bit lost. Here we go. Right there, we select our whole table and want the answer at the column number 3. Number 3. So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the column number 6. So if we want to receive the worst sale of the employee number 3, we simply look, well, the first thing we are looking for, it's write down VLOOKUP. We look up for this number in this table, and we want the row number 6. So we have it, it's gonna be $5. So as you can see, it's $5. If you wanna know the name of the employee number 3, well, in this case, we'll simply write down the second row instead of writing down the 6th row. So it's Leo. So as you can see, guys, in this little practice work or homework, as I call it, we learned, we put everything in practice, and we created a really small and basic app. Well, we fixed a small problem with this little database. So it's, as you can see, it's very simple to use all those functions. It's really a question of practice. So the more you practice, the more it's gonna become easy. So it's very important for you guys, even when you finish this course completely, to practice what you just learned. And yeah, so that's it for this class, and see you in our next class where we are going to start creating more charts.